Hi, everybody. I think it's time for me to introduce myself. I've really enjoyed reading through your introductions and all the interesting things that you're pursuing for education and for the things you read and where you get your news. Very interesting to me. So I'm Allison Fernley. I'm your professor for this semester. I did my undergraduate work in English and French, and my graduate work in English. I got a master's degree, started a PhD program, but I did not finish that. From there, I went to technical writing for a little while and then back to teaching. So I've taught at the college for 25 years. I taught at the U for 4 years before that and spent that time doing technical writing. So that's the basics about me. Um, I asked you that question about where you get your news because most of the reading that we'll be doing is going to come from what I would call the opinion and editorial pages of newspapers and or websites. We look at some academic writing as well as some more in-depth writing that I would consider academic, meaning using multiple sources written for academic audiences. That is, people in academic institutions, colleges, universities. So I wanted to know where you got your news just as a way of getting to know a little bit more about you, and I thought I'd answer that question for you myself. Lately, I have been mostly going for major news to Google News, which is here on my screen, and noticing this morning that there's a earthquake in the Bay Area. Not good news. I like Google News as an aggregator because it offers us so many things to click on and look at. So for when I'm looking for just what's in the news and what's happening, that's kind of where I go. As I asked you to look at in one of the assignments, if you haven't done this assignment yet, Chapter 1, some questions, I mentioned the New York Times, which is also a place that I enjoy going, and the Wall Street Journal to get sort of different perspectives on things. As far as the New York Times goes, I'm often going to the opinion pieces. These are the kinds of things we are reading, things that have what our book refers to as a they say and an I say. Kind of here's what people are thinking in one way or another, and here's what I am adding to that. On television, I like to for just local news, I like KUTV. I guess I like that because it's been there for such a long time without a big change in personnel. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I kind of have enjoyed watching that and watching the two anchors that have been there for many years and are rooted in the community as opposed to a large turnover. Um, National news opinion sided things. I tend to like MSNBC, particularly the Rachel Maddow show. I like it because of its long form. You get a lot of information in the first segments before you get commercials. I recognize that it has a particular slant, but I find Maddow to be a great host and quite entertaining. Also like to go to CNN, even though they covered the disappearing Malaysian airliner in an endless way that kind of drove me crazy. I do like to go to CNN both on television and online since they are a 24/7 outlet if I'm really interested in knowing what's going on. So those are the major things that where I get my news. I love to read just about anything, but I love fiction. I am, after all, an English major of the literature variety. But I like all kinds of fiction, like mysteries for Great Escape. I've read very little fantasy, which a lot of you have read. I probably am limited to some early sci-fi from Arthur Clarke, and I suppose I would call um, Harry Potter the fantasy series that I have enjoyed the most. And I love to read history. I love to read World War One, World War Two, those kinds of things. European history, very interested in. So those are my interests. I'm really want to welcome you to the class. It's going to be a little bit difficult since we don't have an online session. And I have never taught the English 1010 that way without an online session. So it'll be a new experience for me, and I'll probably be making quite a bit of use of these screencasts to talk about the kinds of things we would have talked about in an online session, but they will be brief and you can, of course, watch them at your own leisure. And I believe, just want to let you know that I believe that everybody can pass this class as long as you do the work. So welcome again. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. Okay, thank you, everybody. And here's to a great semester.